All right, welcome everyone into episode 20 of the Hooley Brothers podcast, our first ever live edition here. Mike's over at my place in JP, and we just actually got to the under 16 time out of the first game. We have Loyola up against Oregon State here, so I guess we'll get right into it. First ever live podcast.
Yes, it's happy to be here. Hopefully, we're both using a microphone
in
the live location,
in the recorded computer.
Yeah. So this might come in very crystal clear. So hopefully,
we did a little test before. You can hear me from across the room. I changed the setting on the mic here, so yeah, hopefully our audio's nice and crystal clear, like Mike said. But excited to do our first ever live edition. It's a beautiful day out. We have we just started the first of 4 games today. As far as the tournament goes, into the Sweet 16. I think we're going to do something a little bit different today, Mike. We talked about it since we're so Sweet 16 heavy. We almost want to end our show with that. We want to kind of get to the few things beforehand. I guess we'll lead, though, since the Loyola game is underway. We both did pick Loyola both to win and to cover. I think they ended up, what did you say, 7 points?
Yeah, minus 7. So it's 5-1 at the first.
Yeah, very weird
mucking
game
up,
so far.
Mucking it up. So, so we're going to end with that and get going some other sports.
Yeah, because there was a few things that happened this week before we get into the March Madness nitty-gritty. It's going to be a little bit easier than our last couple shows, rather than previewing or recapping. What would it? It's like 60 games. It's like 60-something games at that point.
Yeah,
32 the first 4, and then like another. We have a lot less to get into. It's 4 matchups each of the next 2 days, and then obviously then the 2 matchups after that. So a total of, I guess, what does that make that 12 games or something like that? Yeah. So we'll get to that.
Yeah, 12.
Yeah, I'm checking my math. Yeah, 4, 4, 2, 2, 2. We'll get into it. We're going to start with a little bit of NFL action. So there was obviously a lot of news that came through yesterday and a lot of draft implications. So again, kind of weird, because first the news was that the 49ers traded up to 3 with the Dolphins. Dolphins moved back to 12, but then the Dolphins traded back into the number 6 spot with the Eagles. So now it's the 49ers at 3. Miami's at 6 and the Eagles are at 12. So a lot of people, especially here in New England, are kind of, jumping to conclusions here, thinking that means Garoppolo's coming to New York. Mike, I don't know how you feel about this, but I don't think that means that at all.
I think
it could, but
it definitely helped the fact that it's going to happen, but it's not a foregone conclusion, or as like NHL would say, foreclosed concussion. Video games, but
that was that old Gary Thorne.
Yeah. So I don't know, but because they are saying that he's going to stay. That's reports are coming out of San Francisco that they're going to hold on to him, but it kind of really makes like a very interesting scenario going.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it does depend on who they like. I think. And they were kind of, speaking this on a lot of the local stations yesterday. But if they love Trey Lance, I think this is the perfect scenario, because then you keep Garoppolo for 1 more year, pretty much redshirt Lance, almost like you saw with Mahomes, and he's coming off of even less experience than Mahomes had, obviously, at Texas Tech. So I don't think it means that at all. I mean, it's not like you're drafting Trevor Lawrence there at number 3, where he's definitely going to start day 1. I don't know. I mean, it could definitely, it helps. It definitely helps for sure. But I think that they could easily hold on to Garoppolo right now.
Yeah, and what did the Washington get for Alex Smith? I think it was a 3rd and like a corner. That's all it took.
Yeah, it was a lot.
And you'd like to think that Garoppolo will get more. So get 1 more year Garoppolo. We get a 2nd for him. That's all they gave up for him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Especially if they like Lance and want him at 3, assuming that it's going to be 1, 2 of Lawrence and Olsen. I don't know. I think it was a good move by them, especially because they definitely don't have a lot of holes. They might just need the quarterback.
I think so, yeah.
So they can kind of give up some capital, like hoping that their pick next year, once everyone's healthy, to get back in the playoff contention. So it's not going to be at 12 next year. It's going to be more like the 25th pick, or hopefully even better if you're a 49er fan. Yeah. So I really much like this move.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. If they have a guy they're targeting, you're probably not going to get Zach Wilson, because it seems like the Jets are shopping Darnold. It seems like that's the direction they're going to go with number 2. But if, again, you enter that next year, whether it be Trey Lance, whether it be Fields, or even we've heard Mac Jones rumored going that high as well, which is kind of crazy if you think about a couple months ago. But yeah, if that's their guy up there, I just don't think that. I mean, it depends on what your plan is for this guy. I think especially if it's Lance, then all signs do point to him holding on to Garoppolo for another year. But it could definitely very well open that up. Again, Pats obviously have Cam Newton. I think their plan. I think they obviously want to get Garoppolo, but I think they're going to draft someone somewhere in the first 2 days. And you could see a similar thing with a red shirt, where Cam is there. Maybe not even a full season. Maybe he starts the first half of the year, and then that's where with the rookie, and whether it be Kellen Mond, Kyle Trask, someone down again, whether you have to trade back at the end of the first or you can wait till day 2 to make that selection.
I can definitely see us taking a quarterback day 2. And like knowing the Pats, it'll be like you think it's going to come on like 1 pick. They don't take them. Then like
they trade
5 picks
back
later.
Yeah,
they'll like trade back up, like getting rid of like the 4th or like the 6th maybe they got.
All these
Marcus came in,
yeah.
Like they never can make it just as expected.
Yeah. So yeah, that we'll have to see what happens there. I mean, a lot of shifting. Again, weird because again, Miami traded back and then traded back up again. So you have to think, and I think that's the person that's going to be feeling pretty good about this is Jalen Hurts because again, they slid back to 12. You got to think. I think we're in for I think you could see those top 4 or 5 guys going before they even get to 12. Because again, you're talking about obviously the top 2 if we think that's pretty set in stone. I mean, I know Wilson's a little bit more questionable, but we think, all signs are kind of pointing he's going to go number 2. And then you're talking about Lance, Fields, and Mac Jones could easily go because again, you're talking about the 49ers at 3. You're talking about Carolina at the 8 spot. They're certainly going to want to go quarterback. You could see Denver or maybe someone else sneaking back into that top 11 ahead of Philly. So I think that's a good indication if you're Philly. The only thing is they might have been going after Kyle Pitts. I don't know if he's going to last there now. Fall into 12. That could be tough.
I was going to say, I think I would very much like this as an Eagles fan because I think they have a lot more holes than they think. And you definitely have to give the keys to
Hurts for a year
to succeed. So you weren't going to take a quarterback there. And yeah, you might have lost on your chance at Pitts or Jamar Chase. But you like to think that some sort of combination of one of the top 3 receivers or Pitts.
Yeah, because again, you have to do
Waddle, and then even worst case scenario, doomsday scenario, nothing falls there. They probably could use some defensive help as well.
No, exactly. It's a good,
especially in the corner position. And
yeah,
I definitely think if all those guys are going, like Surtain or Farley is going to have to be there. Especially they had a weak secondary and they lost Jalen Mills.
Yeah,
so. And then they have another pick. Then they'll have 2 picks next year.
Exactly, and that's another thing too. It's funny because you think about who's going to fall where, but it's so much of it is a math game. You're picking at 12, so there's 11 selections before you. If we do see 5 quarterbacks go off the board, you have to think that
Sewell.
I always think, I forget if it's Sine or Panay. I messed up the
just say Sewell.
Yeah, Sewell. So yeah, he's going to go off the board. You got to think. And then there's the other tackle up there too, right? Who's rumored to. I'm blanking on his name too. But that's already 7 guys. Then the 3 wide receivers, you're up to 10, and then the tight end. So unless that's exactly how it goes, and then even then, your pick of the litter for cornerbacks or linebackers go. If you want to go with Surtain or Farley or Micah Parsons, that's if it's all those guys go in the top 11. I have to imagine one of the corners is going to go before then too. So you're going to end up with one of those guys. I think you will have a chance of one of the receivers or Pitts still at 12. So I think you're right. I think that was a good idea from them to kind of trade back and get more picks out of it. And just, again, you have to give Hurts at least 1 year, I think, to see. I mean, obviously, I think you should bring in some sort of veteran. I don't know who's still on the market or have they already, did they sign Flacco?
Yeah,
exactly. They signed Flacco, who I think is a good backup at this stage in his career. So I think that was a good move from them. And I know you put here, Mike, as a recap of the Laramie Tunsil trade, because I know there were a lot of specifics. I didn't quite gather them, but just it ended up not being, because on Miami's side, it ended up being like a pretty decent haul, right?
Oh yeah, I think he ended up being worth like 4 first round.
Right, exactly. Just with all the trading,
the domino effect of the bomb.
That was one of the funniest things.
Because I think like the Ravens were like a slotted in to pick him very easily, and then all of a sudden they just didn't.
I remember that night. I was down at a luxury box with my guy Calvin. We were watching it was the Celtics playoff game too against the Hawks. I think they got eliminated that night.
I remember I was dual screening my sophomore year dorm.
Yeah, so that was that was a crazy night just seeing the tweets and then seeing him just fall as the draft went on. But yeah, kind of the domino effect as he ends up there, and then all these like trades happen, like you said. So pretty interesting recap, or kind of like you said, falling out there from that trade. So other free agent signings like you mentioned before. I don't know which ones we quite hit on because we've been so
basketball centric.
Exactly, so tournament centric as well. Chicago, again, our guy Big Cat, AD Chicago, not Anthony Davis, but we have Andy Dalton, QB1, as the Twitter account will have you know. So a little interesting there. They're another team that is, again, kind of rumored to be in after Garoppolo, again, kind of from Illinois, has the background there. So, but right now they have Dalton as number 1. It just seems like a never-ending storyline of Chicago kind of picking a bottom-tier starter / high-end backup as their starting quarterback. With a stacked defense, they just can't turn this corner. They keep ending up with like the low teens pick. They can't get into because again, their defense is almost so good that they can't.
Yeah, like they'll be
that bad.
They'll at least break even with the Lions, and they'll probably have one heartbreaking loss still.
Exactly. So it's
like those 2 games last year. They should have won the other one.
Because
Trubisky led the comeback in week 1, and then he blew the game later on in the year. So
that's another thing too with Trubisky. That's the one time they did end up in the top 3. They traded to 2, and they take Trubisky with. You've heard it many times before with Mahomes and Watson, kind of just sitting there. But
did we hit on him going to Buffalo?
But Trubisky, I think we might have. Yeah, I think it's a good spot for him again. And then obviously, and then Dunlap as well. I think I missed this one, Mike, just because again it's been such a crazy last few days between them and then the NBA, which we're going to get to a little bit in the tournament. Where Dunlap where did he end up again?
He just re-signed with Seattle.
He did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I was thinking.
I literally just went through my Bleacher Report notifications.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what have we missed in the last week at least? Like to touch upon.
Yeah. So again, we kind of got into the free agent frenzy before that. As far as the Patriots have made, other places where I don't know if we hit on this. AJ Green went to the Cardinals.
Yeah,
I think of recent stuff that happened. I will have to catch up with rosters, maybe even especially once we get closer to the actual season. But and then playoff Lenny back with Tampa Bay, Super Bowl Lenny. Lombardi Lenny, that's what it is. Yes.
I think they're all nicknames.
They all apply.
Honestly, like it for all pieces involved.
So all 22 are back.
Yeah, I remember they made a huge deal last year when Kansas City returned the entire offense.
Mm-hmm.
Tampa Bay took it up one notch and returned all 22. Not sure how I feel about it though.
Okay.
I like some sort of turnover. I agree with Anthony Maz from the local station. I think I want to let Barrett go.
Jack Barrett,
because I think they paid a hefty dollar for him. I think it was like $472.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but also you have Brady who's 43 years old, but 44. Mm-hmm. I think you just go all in now, like try to win like 1 or 2 more Super Bowls, and then you're going to completely start over in a few. You'll trade these pieces off. You'll dump salary, but you have this window.
No, yeah, that's what I mean.
Got to go all in.
Yeah, that's why you got a franchise guy. You got to pay Lenny because like that good rapport, like that backfield is amazing between him and Ronald Jones. So I get like bringing back the offense for Brady, but like maybe like on the defensive side, like I mean they had a fantastic Super Bowl, but there also were some games with regular season, let away. So that's just like I don't know, like I'm just nitpicking because they have a Super Bowl team. We're looking better, but we don't. So we lost Brady, so I'm just being a nitpicker.
Yeah, that and going. Just to kind of wrap up on NFL stuff here, especially with the local team here. That's like I'm sure we listen to a lot of the radio around here. Our guy, the Dark Knight, Adam Jones has a great saying about the Patriots. It's like a car without an engine.
Yep.
With that, with Cam Newton, the quarterback right now, they have all the pieces, but nothing to make it go. So again, we'll see if Cam can have some sort of bounce back, some sort of even remote return to his 2015 form, or if they end up adding on any quarterback, whether through the draft or somewhere else in free agency, or maybe even Garoppolo. But so we'll keep an eye on that. But just wanted to again catch up on some NFL items. Just again, all the craziness from the draft trades yesterday. But now let's shift over to the NBA again. This is a weird time of year. It's almost like I do the same thing in September with baseball, where I'm watching intensely and then I just black out for a month because I'm all obsessed with football. Same thing with the NBA. With once the tournament starts, I'm like, I just don't care about the NBA for a month. It is weird. I mean, I'm still, obviously tracking stuff, but as far as watching games, I'm like, I just watched 4 straight days of basketball. I'm like, I need some sort of break. I'm like, that's where my focus is. I'm all in on the tournament right now. But the deadline changes thing. That's usually a little bit before, but with COVID, everything getting pushed back. Again, the trade deadline's usually end of February, but it was just on Thursday. We actually saw a lot of moves this year. It can usually be a little. Not a little what's sort of flat, like not much happening, but we saw a lot going on, and it seems like the Magic are making their move for Cade Cunningham. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, no, Buddy Boeheim.
Oh, I'm sorry. Evan Mobley.
Yeah. Or Isaiah, I don't know.
Is
Evans? Evans, but Isaiah had a very good second round.
We'll get to them in a little bit, but but basically the Magic just traded probably their 3 best players, right?
Yeah, poor Terrence Ross.
I almost like, can we get Terrence Ross too? So anyway,
it was very funny on Twitter.
Yeah, he's like now the oldest guy here.
Yeah, like the Samuel L. Jackson.
Which is funny because he was already older than Gordon, I think.
Yeah.
Vucevic was about his age, and Fournier might be like, what is he? Is 28, 31? He might be a little.
I think so. So speaking of those guys.
Yeah, so let's get to all of them. So Vucevic, I think this is something that I only have Perk's voice in my head now. Vucevic, I don't even know. But anyway. So he goes to the Bulls in exchange for Wendell Carter, Otto Porter, and 2 picks. So
what I had to say, great start to the day. It was like, you only got the other trade on today. Like,
because that was early.
I was listening to some like other like basketball podcasts for like the tournament, and I was like, okay, eventually around like 2, I might lock in, go like right into like TV or radio to get this trade deadline. And then it was 9:30, boom. Woj, Vucevic, and the next thing I know, I was kind of just tracking it the entire day.
Yeah, so that's one too, and it's tough to not. I mean, it's tough to not look locally after all that because you have to think. I mean, the picks, that's nothing. I mean, I'm trying to think of what the Celtics equivalent of these players would be. It sounds like it'd be like Carter would almost be. I don't know. He's like more time. He's Time Lord's like position, but yeah, because I don't think Neesmith is quite up to that yet. It might be Williams. Then if on Porter, I don't know if you're talking about like a. I mean, for the money, it's closer to Kemba, but I mean, maybe that's more of a smart equivalent. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of a heavy haul, but I don't know. Vucevic is a guy that I think I would have loved to see here.
Yeah, I think you might have been able to hold on to Smart. I think if you could have done like you would have had Williams and Neesmith probably.
Williams, Neesmith, maybe even
Thompson probably too
for money, and then even some of the other. I'm trying to think of like the other younger, maybe Langford too, which I'm fine with.
Yeah,
I'm fine with
basically just trading our last 2 first-round draft picks along with 4. So basically,
last 3. If you
sure. Yeah, so I mean, I would rather. Yeah, I mean, I guess out of the best players of like youth there, I think. At this current state, I'd say Williams is the best.
Oh, for sure.
Because Carter had a good start to his career, but I think since then he's kind of really.
It's one of those things where I'm not in a hurry to get rid of Rob Williams, but if you're bringing in Vucevic, who's pretty much the same position, that's when you make that move. Because he's again 30 years old, so he's obviously a lot older than Robert Williams. But I mean, he's just dynamic again. The last 2 seasons, he's been an all-star, and but again, he goes to Chicago. So and. Another guy the Celtics were rumored, especially the last week or so, we're going on was Aaron Gordon. He's another guy that got moved, but to Denver for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a first. That's a move too that I think the Celtics definitely could have made happen instead. Because again, you have the picks. RJ Hampton's essentially that's Neesmith essentially because they were teens draft picks this year. Gary Harris, that might be more of like a Marcus Smart type, yeah. So that's another move. But again, he goes out to Denver, who's really, I mean, they're making a push. And if you're them, this is the year. The Lakers a little bit banged up with again, LeBron and AD both being out at certain times. The Clippers, who knows with them? We obviously saw them collapse. They lost to Denver this time a year ago. The Jazz, they went 7 games with them last year, and they were
like they're Utah, and they always
it's the Jazz. This Sogo. I think the Suns are still a little bit on the come up. They're they're here maybe a year early. So I think if you're Denver, I mean, if the injuries play out a certain way, you might have a shot this year to win the West.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, like the Celtics, they're kind of like with the Celtics, maybe like a couple years older, because I think like Murray was the same as Brown draft class.
Yeah, they were,
and Jokic is a little older than Tatum, so like they're probably on like comparing timelines. They're probably like a year or 2 ahead of us. So like, we're saying we have to do something now. So imagine being a Nuggets fan, they're probably saying we have to do something like 2 years ago. So like they're rotating. I mean, they did lose Jeremy Grant. Kind of that stinks for them. But
yeah,
they've needed like kind of like a third guy to take off the load because sometimes, especially in the playoffs last year, you're like, who are you looking to outside
Michael Porter? Yeah, but he's been inconsistent. I mean, he came off that injury a couple of years ago. So not quite the same, but that's the thing too. If you can get both of them going, because I don't think either one is quite ready for the 3, but maybe both of them combined. Because Aaron Gordon's, I don't know. He's someone when I heard his rumor of him, I'm like, if we don't have to give up too much, yeah. But he's not someone I'm crazy about. But I think having him and Michael Porter as your 3rd and 4th options in whatever order that might be, I think that puts you in a much better spot.
Yeah, I just think that would do something, and he was the something that they're offering up. So.
And forgive me if I'm wrong, but did they make a move recently too? I thought Denver did something somewhat recently. Could be wrong, but yeah, they seem like they're definitely in. And then finally, the last member of the trio that gets traded is Evan Fournier. So he goes to the Celtics. Again, they got one of the Magic guys. It ends up being kind of the 3rd guy on the list there. And that ends up being for I know there were a lot of pieces that went out, so I wasn't sure. So Jeff Teague went to Okay, I couldn't remember if
he's already waived.
He's already been waived. Okay, come back. So yeah, Evan Fournier goes to Boston. Jeff Teague and 2 second-round picks go out. So really not much on the asset front. But and again, I can't even remotely begin to try to understand this TPE thing. I don't know if that's how much of the Hayward thing that played into, or what.
Basically, we could have like traded for a max guy.
Yeah,
with that exception, but like that, I think in the end we didn't waste it on it. We just wasted half of it.
Okay, and it's also
so now like we can only get another Evan Fournier.
We can't get like
in the off season.
I'm just throwing it in. We can get like Anthony Davis. Not that we ever would, but I'm saying like you can't get that. Yeah,
it's basically I think it was like $30 million trade exception, and he cut it in half.
Okay, I mean I'd rather have that than waste it because these things have an expiration date.
Yeah, I think they've kind of like built it up to us like, oh, we got this in return, when really like I think 75% of the time it goes unused.
Right. So I mean they've already gotten something out of it. Again, maybe like you said, you can throw another piece on there in the offseason.
Yeah. And I think like technically like we have one for like both Poirier and Cantor from last year.
Yeah, like
and now I think we have another one for the other move that we did, trading away Daniel Tice.
Right. So
to get under the cap. I mean, not the cap,
the luxury tax.
Luxury tax.
Yeah.
So now I think we have another like trade exception for Tice. So now we have like 8 trade exceptions.
Exactly.
Like
so
Costanza, let's pick like 8 Twinkies.
Exactly. So I got a lot going on here. Celtics made a lot of moves to get under the cap. So yeah, Fournier comes in. I made the mistake just because I didn't know what the joke was of Googling his last name. Not pleasant, but I didn't even know what I'm like, did he do like, is he canceled? Like I didn't know what was going on here. But anyway,
just don't.
It's gross.
Don't do it.
As much as I want to see other people go through the same pain, don't do it. But yeah, so the other move, like you said, Daniel Tice, who I don't know, I was in a hurry to get him out of town, but there was definitely a log jam going on at that center position.
I like them. I mean, I guess you can't with the money with Thompson and the fact that he's clutch and you kind of want to keep that reputation. The teammates just back them up. It would have been tough to trade. I just really like Tice. Yeah, we have a saying, my apartment Tice is nice.
Yeah.
And
the seals, as you always talk about.
Huh?
The ceiling.
Oh, yeah.
SEAL, not ceiling. Ceiling out on.
Oh, yeah. The best sealer in the league. Best sealer in the league, yeah.
This is your
thing. It was on the Zach Lowe's. I mean, before it was on the paywall. I read a lot last season. But
yeah.
But yeah, I'm sad to see him go. It was great Celtics for his 4 years. Jack Foley's favorite. Yeah,
so him and Javonte Green, again, part of making that money work. So they're on their way to
he might have gone to Washington. Green, I don't know. I know it's
through this whole
I haven't really.
Okay, because again, so basically coming in was Mo Wagner of Michigan lore and Luke Cornett. I don't even know much about him, but anyway,
there's Robert Ory 2.0.
Oh, right. So they both come in. Yeah, Mo Wagner was a member of the Bulls for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So it ended up being a 3-way trade. So he never technically was on the Bulls, I guess. But
yeah, was he?
He was in Washington.
So there was a deal earlier today because I remember getting
to trade Wagner to Washington.
It was like nothing, which is weird.
Or from Washington to Chicago,
which is weird because Cornett came from Washington, I think.
Okay,
but he was on the Bulls in the past.
Okay,
because like Bulls fans knew about the
yeah, because that's the thing too. Some trades. Like again, they get announced, but since the details aren't finalized, like, well, we're also making this other trade, so then it gets reworked. So I think that's what happened with Wagner. Was like he was going to go to Chicago, but then it got worked right into the 3-way deal. So he was like he actually played last night.
Hit a 3.
Yeah, he hit the stank face. So if you didn't like his face, it did not help whatever he did last night. But so that's where that ended up. So we saw again Tice, Javonte Green, and Jeff Teague on their way out. Evan Fournier, Mo Wagner, and Luke Cornett in. It's weird though because it sounds like an even trade, but I thought they were trying to open up roster spots because we ended up getting because Cornett almost like it ended up not opening up any roster spots because 3 went out, 3 went in, right?
I don't know. I think somehow we open up roster spots. I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Brief update while we're here. So we're recording live during the Oregon State Loyola first half. Loyola started out pretty strong. But they haven't scored in a while. Very low scoring game with we just came out of that. I think the under 8 timeout. 10-9 Oregon State on top. So again, we'll keep you up to date on
2 of 13.
Loyola just hit a 3. It's 12-10 now. We'll probably again be recording for the whole first half and into halftime. So we'll obviously have an update after that.
Mm-hmm.
But keeping up with the NBA. So Heat are able to get Victor Oladipo for Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, 2 former Celtics there, and a pick swap. And really what this is that this just created a giant domino effect of just showing how the Rockets have got absolutely nothing for James Harden.
No, in the start, why couldn't the Celtics done that a couple years ago?
Yeah, right. Like just
because I think like back then, I mean his value's kind of gone down a little bit.
I think
back then we could have gotten like Oladipo because he wasn't worth that much, and like that could have been a fair price like back in the day.
Yeah,
and this pick swap's not going to get used.
Yeah. Oladipo's value's gone up, and the Olynyk and Bradley's values have gone down. So it's like
Well, I don't know. I'd say maybe Olynyk's gone up a little bit. He gave some good spacing to their team last year.
I guess but he didn't play the minutes he played like Game 7 against the Wizards.
Of course, not sure.
That whole Miami series or the whole Miami Boston series.
Well, got on the payday,
right? So yeah, they turned Harden. Basically, someone's just like, why don't they just keep Karis LeVert?
I was very shocked when because
why did we came out Indiana?
It came as a 3-way. I'm like, okay, let's got LeVert. He's like the young star, and then I only got Oladipo. I'm like, at that time isn't like
no. And now you have John Wall. It's like they gotta I don't know. It's very. They have to move on from Wall. They're on another team that's in the Kate Cunningham sweepstakes also.
Yeah,
Buddy Boeheim, as you mentioned. But
I mean, I think the fact this year they're like, okay, like we're gonna stink.
They're really gonna stink.
Like John Wall, like just sit here and put on a show for. I'm guessing there's probably fans because it's Texas.
Oh yeah.
I think Houston's actually like a good city, and like they probably got like so much. Anyways,
Yeah.
Just put on a show for the fans.
Yeah.
Put up your numbers. Show your league you can actually still play. It'll help us help you. Next year we'll trade you a good place. And sorry, Scoop, there it is on the TV. So.
Yeah, I'm very distracted. Actually, the real song of the radio today, and I couldn't get the lyrics right because I was like, I just want to yell at French Vanilla Rocky Road. Anyway, but it ended up turning. Yeah, James Harden basically turned into Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley. There's probably picks in there, but
and then Road Onions Carricks.
Oh yes.
I think one other kind of like low name.
Essentially nothing is what we're getting.
Just a lot of draft picks and draft swaps, and I love the graphic had 20 games of Victor Oladipo on it.
So you got a quarter of a real season of Victor Oladipo. Hang the banner. Yeah. But they also get Bielitsa, the Heat do. So
that kind of just like replaces the spacing and shooting as Olynyk. So that was a precursor move, and you kind of saw it coming.
Yeah. So the Heat, I mean, they've struggled this year too, as pretty much all but 3 teams in the East have struggled this year. But they seem like in the best position to get just outside that top 3, maybe shoot for that 4 spot. I know the East is every day there's movement from like 4 to 10.
No, it's a fun race to look at.
What's that?
The Southeast Division.
Oh, because there's the
Hornets, Hawks, and Heat.
Okay.
And they're all.
It doesn't mean anything, right? It just get in the playoffs, right?
But my friend Ryan placed a $50 future on the Hornets to win the division.
It seems possible.
And it's like 50 to win.
Right now they're winning.
It's like 50 to win like 300.
Oh wow!
So he's like, I don't care. Just the rest of they could be the 8 seed and win the division. I don't care.
Right. And I mean, right now they're winning. I think they're the 4 seed.
The 4 seed.
So yeah. So. All right. But yeah, okay. So then looking around the other league teams that are also struggling this year beyond the Celtics, which again they're their own mess right now. But Norm Powell. So I'm actually a big Norm Powell guy. I mean, he can never. I mean, he's such like bench scorer or like your 5th best starter. But he gets traded to Portland for Gary Trent Jr. and Rodney Hood. I see here, Mike, that you have a Gary Trent Sr. and Jr. fact. I think I might have heard this the other day, but
it was
refresh me.
43 games into their 3rd season. Both Gary Trent Sr. and Jr. got traded from Portland to Toronto.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow. That's very weird. Very specific. I don't know who found that, but that's also very, very interesting.
I got to say, I'm a little confused about this trade if I'm Portland.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Have you seen Gary Trent miss a shot?
Now that you mention it, no.
I feel like because during that playoff run, I mean, they really fizzled out after game 1 against the Lakers, but that bubble run to the play-in game to game 1 against the Lakers, I thought anytime Gary Trent was open, he was just hitting a 3. So I love Norm Powell,
but the microwave that is Norm Powell.
Yeah, so I mean, Norm Powell's a fantastic year. I love him. He's a great player.
Has he scored 50? I mean, no, I didn't Terrence Ross confused a lot.
Terrence Ross is a guy.
Norm Powell's put up points before.
Yeah, I think then they had the COVID outbreak in the team. He was putting up 35 a night.
And is Norm Powell, is he taller? Is one thing I'm thinking, is he more of a 3 versus Gary Trent more of a 2?
I think they're both 3s.
I don't know. I'm just
he's a free agent at the end of the year, so
who's that, Trent or Powell?
Powell, where I feel like I'd rather
expiring contract that could help you with free agency.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It seemed like a very lateral move.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And it was a nice seeing a post by McCollum shouting out Rodney Hood because he did 2 years ago their 2019 conference finals run. He ended up tearing his ACL halfway through the playoffs, but he did hit a lot of key shots in there. Series against Denver. Yeah. That series against Denver, I think it was a double overtime game 3 that they ended up winning at home. And I think he was the main reason they won that game. Then I think he got hurt either at the very end of that game or the next game. So shout out Rodney Hood.
I had a laugh real quick as Cameron Krutwig just made the funniest bank shot, just guy at the Y bank shot. But anyway, so then also with Toronto, a lot of rumors. I think a lot of people thought it was pretty certain that Kyle Lowry was going to get traded. It's tough because part of me does want to see Lowry compete for another ring, but he just seems like Mr. Toronto. So it's I'm almost a little happy to see him stay. I know he had the FaceTime from Drake at his press conference the other day. It seems like he was on his way out, maybe going back home to Philly, but again, no move on Kyle Lowry. He stays there, and so he'll be with the Raptors. Philly again with missing it. Oh, do you?
I just have one little note. I got a Bleacher Report notification Wednesday afternoon. It was the Nuggets were playing the Raptors. Nuggets were 3.5-point favorites, and I got a notification saying like 91% of the money in Vegas was on the Nuggets because the Raptors the night before broke the 20-game losing streak by the Houston Rockets. Okay. I should have placed a bet on it because I knew it was too good to be true. The Raptors won by like 20 points. And that was like Lowry's last game. We had that Drake FaceTime. I was like, how did I not see that coming with all like the storylines?
Yeah.
I think I was just working, and I just like kind of like was like, oh crap, the game already started. And that was my come on. Got to think better. Because Vegas always knows.
Yeah, Vegas nothing worse than a regret of a pick not made. But so then instead, Philly again, they were looking for point guard depth. They could actually get George Hill. So kind of a three-way deal there. Terrence Ferguson goes to the Knicks, in addition to George Hill going to Philly, and then Austin Rivers and
Tony
Bradley going to Oklahoma City in that three-way slot. I feel like Austin Rivers is almost finally finding a spot in New York.
Yeah,
he's been with a million teams, but so now he goes out to OKC to again not much out there, but maybe more time to shine for Austin Rivers. But I did like him in New York as a brief stint. JJ Redick, so he could. Maybe be ending his 1-year playoff slump if Dallas can turn it around. I know that they're in some trouble too as far as the playoff race goes, but he moves Redick and Melly actually going from New Orleans to Dallas. So another move there.
A lot of white guys.
A lot of white guys on the move. Mark Cuban loves his white guys. It's funny because Mark Cuban's also like very much with things, but he does hoard up his white guys down there. And then the point guard swap from coast to coast here. Rondo for Lou Will. So Rajon Rondo again. He signed with the again. Is he from Atlanta? Is he from the area? Or I know he went to Kentucky, but I thought there was a reason he signed with them. I know, but again, he seems like he did a good job, kind of I think mentoring in his brief stint there. But a guy we know is from Atlanta is Lou Williams. He loves
lemon pepper wings.
I forget the name of the
like Jack City or something like that.
Yeah, Magic City.
Yeah.
The famous strip club down there. But so a little bit a point guard swap there. Rondo back in LA, but this time for the Clippers after winning the title with the Lakers last year. And then Lou Will going back to Atlanta and just considered retiring. Is that when he was on the Clippers or right after the trade?
Right after the trade.
Oh,
then he was like, I got some energy left in the tank.
Yeah.
I was kind of shocked when I got this notification that the Clippers got rid of a scorer, but I don't know. I think I kind of
like it because again, Lou Will he's been a guy I'm always big on, especially I've played fantasy the last few years, and Lou Will's a guy I like, but I think he has had a real down year as far as that goes. I almost would like to see if he ever got bought out, just like on the Celtics, just to see what he has left. But at least now he's home. He can chill, do his thing with Atlanta. But I think the Clippers have been really struggling at the point guard position. So bringing at least the veteran presence of Rondo. We know playoff Rondo is a thing. So I actually do like the move on the Clippers side.
Took a couple days, but now I actually think about it.
Yeah. And then the buyout market, that seems to be the next thing after the deadline passes. LaMarcus Aldridge and Andre Drummond. Aldridge was seeing a lot of Heat rumors, I believe. That's another way that Miami could again get right back into this mix here, as far as again, it seems to be the top three and then everyone else. They can kind of work their way into that conversation if they bring in Aldridge on top of getting Oladipo. But the other name is Andre Drummond, and the Celtics say they're in on him.
I think they met today.
Okay. And I actually would really like it, especially because he's on it the last year. Would be like again.
Well, if he's bought out, it's just
that minimum for a year, for the rest of the year. Yeah. So I would like to see it happen, but I am weary because I think a lot of points got brought up this week. It's like, okay, he's either going to want to ring chase, in which case he would go to the Lakers, or I don't know if the Nets could work that in, but probably the Lakers. And then if he wants to, play for his next contract, you might go to a team like the Knicks where there's more opportunity because they're also in on him too. We have Time Lord. We have Tristan Thompson now. Even with getting rid of Tice, I don't think Wagner really plays into that, but you still have, again, Robert Williams and Tristan Thompson there. So maybe there's a bit of a logjam, although I don't know how they would work with Tristan Thompson, but I almost think they'd be fine with playing Drummond and Robert Williams for the most part.
Yeah, they're starting Thompson and Tice, so
right. So
I think they don't mind the two bigs.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, I'd
love to see it.
I like to see it.
He
plays ball at UConn, getting back to the New England area, but
yeah. But yes, that was kind of the craziness of the trade deadline. Now the buyout market. As far as injuries go, a lot of people still out. LeBron, Durant, Curry, Embiid, all out with injury right now. So some of the best players in the league really paving the way for that James Harden MVP talk.
Yeah, he literally said he was the MVP after the game.
I'm trying to think who I want to be MVP.
I wanted it to be Embiid.
I know.
Yeah.
So Jokic.
I was gonna say Jokic. Now I'm all team Jokic.
I would love Jokic to win. Yeah, I want James Harden to win, but he's having a good
year. It's hard not to call him the MVP
I know. TJ Warren out for the season, which sucks again. Bubble Warren from last year. He always had a great season. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as well. He might be out.
Yeah, he said he's gonna miss significant time. So you'd like to think
they should just shut him down.
With the record they are.
Yeah,
they probably shut him down.
Exactly. And because Thunder, obviously, they got even more picks this week, right?
Yep, I think for the next 10 years, they have 34 picks, 17 first, 17 seconds.
Absolutely nuts. 17 first round picks in 10 years. But trying to see. Oh, Northwest Missouri State.
D2 champs.
I was like, what is this update they're showing us? There's only one game going on. But anyway, going back to the Celtics, we'll wrap up with them as far as NBA goes. They win the second of a home and home with the Bucks. Or no, it wasn't a home and home. They were both in Milwaukee.
Both in Milwaukee.
Yeah. So
that right, home and home. Whoops.
Yeah, that's all right. They usually are home and homes.
And in this climate, it's a 2 days.
Right.
Two games.
They easily could have won both. I mean, they were down bad in the first game, but
Tice had an open shot.
I have to say something, Mike. I'm a big Marcus Smart guy, but it has not gone well since he's come back from injury.
No,
the record hasn't been good. His shot selection, I get it. They're leaving him open. He has these but again, it's coming down late in the game. I think there was a stat the other day, after, and a lot of it was Kemba too, and I have no problem with Kemba taking big shots, but it was after a certain point of the game, it's Brown made one pass, and that's the only time him or Tatum touched the ball in the last minute.
Jeez.
It was just the Marcus Smart missed three, then the Marcus Smart drive. I guess if I have anything from Smart, it was drive.
Well, the thing was the pass was, I think it was by Brown, and I
thought he was going to put up a shot.
Well, it was an amazing pass to Marcus Smart.
Yeah,
wide open three. So at that point,
the three before that, you're saying
the three
that he took and missed. Okay.
I didn't hate the three. I just hated how he didn't follow a shot because the rebound came right back to him, and he started backing away.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I know. I meant because then he got it again, and then I think he thought about taking that other three, and then he said he drove, which went out of bounds.
Well, that was a different possession.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I meant
So he drove 1-on-3 to everyone, and that's when I think you should have. Once you saw that happening, I'm going to call timeout if I was because he sat on 2.
I'm fine, honestly. I guess with it just the Bucks. You have to give credit to them. They played good defense. So we're pretty much going to make you pass it to Daniel Tice essentially. Because then I was wondering, is it better to have Tyson bound up? But then it's you're giving up. Maybe if he's able to sneak through and get an easy 2. But yeah. So again, it ends with a Daniel Tyson missed shot. They did come all the way storming back. Kemba looked really good at the end of that game. So hopefully getting him back into form. Mm-hmm. I don't know. They just need to. If they can just somehow get up into 4, I think that's just a success at this point. You hope Philly holds on to that one spot, so that if you're able to win your first round series, it's a little bit more attainable than facing Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You'd rather see Brooklyn and Milwaukee beat the crap out of each other. And I think the absolute ceiling for the team is Eastern Conference Finals loss. That's a lot of things go well. Again, you have to end up, I think, in the 4th spot. But I mean, right now they're just playing this weird play-in tournament thing in 7 to 10 range. But they got to get back on track with the Thunder.
And one final note, you got the Celtics, you got to say. I mean, they're a little bit short-manned with COVID protocols and sending people out the door. I feel like every game that Taco is forced to play 8 minutes, they win.
Yeah.
And he did get kind of posterized by.
I'm not saying he's a huge difference maker, but I mean,
I feel like that happens.
Also, it's his per 36 numbers are through the roof, right? Yeah. He scores he's in for a minute. He gets a bucket every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So that'll do it for the NBA portion. We'll just have a few more notes here before we get into the full March Madness preview here. So quickly, a Bruins note here. Again, after their bit of a COVID break, they were back but lost to the Islanders in overtime. Tuca injury as well, which doesn't help. They're kind of on to Halak, and then I'm blanking on the other.
Darth Vladar.
Yes, Vladar. Yes. And then
so he left after the first period in the game on Thursday. Mm-hmm. First games in Boston with people in the stands.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Cassidy called the first line too, but they're actually playing right now up 3-2 with 40 seconds left
in the game.
Okay. So
right. What exactly was said about the first line?
I just knew that. I didn't really hear it from talk radio. So
fair enough. Well, but yeah, so we want to give a quick note here. Again, once the tournament wraps up and we get into the nitty gritty of NBA and NHL season, we'll get a little bit more talk. Mm-hmm. Maybe get some guests on there a little bit.
Yeah.
More specialty to the NHL field. And then finally, we do want to wrap up with MLB because the thing that really snuck up on me, Mike, was the fact that opening day is in like 5 days.
Yeah.
So,
a week from 2 days. Yeah, 5 days a week from
Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
April 1st.
It's exciting. It's exciting. Especially once we'll get to the Final Four. It's not as like time consuming. You'll still be very locked in to see how next weekend goes. But I hope they don't screw up like they did last year when it was COVID. But are there like 2 day games again? Because that was tragic. Because opening day is something that should be like, I'd say over 50% should be day games, and it was like there was like a lot of 7 p.m. starts last year, and it was very disappointing.
I'm gonna take a look right now.
Yeah, we'll take a look, but first
the first 2 1 1 2 3 4 4 4.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, there's only 4 MLB games
starting after.
Yeah, there's the ESPN 7:00 game, and then there's 3 West Coast games.
All right, fair enough. I'm fine with that.
That's all at the ALS.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was a weird year last year, but I just remember like talking to people. I was like, how did they screw this up so bad? There was like 2 day games.
It was like only the national TV games. Like
yeah. It was like everyone else started at 7. It was awful. But anyway, so I just wanted to.
Erod will be out opening day.
I'm trying to make sure that we're good here. I know my internet can be a little finicky at times, but I think we might have just popped out for a second there. But anyway,
okay.
No, my laptop, because I had the notes on the other laptop. I just want to make sure we're all good. Less than a week, as I mentioned, opening day. Unfortunately, Erod, I was looking really forward to him getting the opening day start, but he has a dead arm, which I know is a thing. I get it. I think I understand what it is, but I didn't know that was actually like medical terminology there. But he won't be making the opening day start. It's gonna be Eovaldi now, right?
Yep, back ears.
Yeah. So Nate Eovaldi. So we'll see what the Red Sox. Dahlback's been tearing up the spring.
46 home runs.
Guy Carabas predicted 46 home runs for him. And fantasy coming up. I've been out actually a couple of years. Last year's where I didn't even bother getting involved, but I think the year before, maybe even a year before that as well, I was out. But getting back into my work league, which I'm excited about.
Yeah. So no, we didn't really hold any leagues last year, but yeah, I do a work league. It's only auction style, so it's a very different type of league. Apparently, it's been around since like 1990. So I'm the young buck in that group, and I'm also in like a standard, like regular league with my buddy and his dad's friends. So they're all at fantasy baseball with a lot of older heads, which is kind of a nice change of pace. And they're all really into it, so it definitely adds to the fun.
For sure. So we'll have a bit more of a preview on Wednesday's show where we'll do a little bit of that, and then we'll recap what went on to the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And I think it's time to move on to that. Again, we had to cover these few leagues first. We want to do a little bit of a reverse and kind of just lead right into the whole day with March Madness. So again, Wednesday we'll do more of a preview for MLB as well as the recap. And it's actually pretty good timing here because we're getting to the end of the first half of Oregon State and Loyola. Beavers driving. They do get a bucket at the buzzer here, so they're going to be up 24-16. Kind of surprising to see Oregon State. I mean, we shouldn't be because it's been. And why don't we just go ahead and start as an overarching theme, the Pac-12. I know we mentioned it last time, but the Oregon State showing no signs of slowing down, of 24-16 on Sister Jean and the Ramblers here.
They just know how to muck up these games because, like, the game started, and after probably the most impressive win of the tournament was Loyola beating Illinois, and they were up, I believe, 9-3 very early in this game, and it looked like it was 9-3, like pretty early in the second half. They only have 16 points at halftime. I'm getting flashbacks of the San Diego State game against the Zone, but Oregon State just knows how to play tough defense. Like, I was like kind of looking back at this team, I'm like, who's really sticking out to them for me? Like usually, like Oral Roberts, we'll get to them later. Like, okay, they're upsetting teams, but it's Ace Smith and Albana.
Yeah, exactly.
So like trying to figure out, like, I'm like, they're the big lumpy dude Sylvia, and then I forget the name, like the point guard has like nice hair.
Yeah,
and like outside of that, I'm like, I couldn't even their names. So, like I remember it's kind of just like balanced scoring and good defense. So they kind of just are like, I'm getting awful. Like I know there was like South Carolina.
I was going to say.
I know it had
Davis
Thornwell on that team, but.
I remember because I saw clips. I follow like the March Madness page on Facebook, and they're just like, I'm like, oh yeah, like that was such a weird team to make the Final Four. Like they weren't a mid major, but they weren't like the Frank Martin.
Yeah, they were like the 7th seed too.
Yeah, exactly.
They beat Duke.
Yes, exactly. That was the year I had the Lonzo Ball team winning it all, but they lost the Sweet 16. But yeah, so again, we made our picks for this game. Both picked Loyola and Loyola to cover. Not looking great right now. We have a lot of work to do on that one. We're gonna have a 15-point swing in the second half.
Hey, it could happen.
It definitely could.
To push.
To put, yeah, well, no, all right. Well, fair enough. I take that at this point. Got that nice push against that Gonzaga Oklahoma game, as we mentioned. But yeah, so and then the other Midwest game today, it's actually the nightcap, Syracuse and Houston. Houston's the number 2 seed. It's weird because we have a 2, an 8, and 11, and a 12.
Yeah.
I like Syracuse in this game. I don't know. It's one of those things we mentioned it last time. If Syracuse ever enters the tournament favored, they don't do well.
Mm-hmm.
But if they come in as this either play-in tournament, an 8 seed or lower, they seem to do well and make at least an Elite 8 or Final 4 run. And it probably makes no sense that Houston's going to come out of the gate. But again, they were lucky to win that Rutgers game. Rutgers kind of collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
Syracuse has looked on fire since this tournament started.
Yeah, the last game Rutgers kind of played not to lose, and when you play not to lose, you lose. I mean, Houston's a great team. I mean, they only lost 3 games all year. Quentin Grimes, fantastic player.
But the American.
Yeah. I don't know. It just seems like Syracuse is playing Team of Destiny, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think at least for the Final Four, for sure.
Yeah. So, they're at that point, the spread in that game right now is 6.5. I at least think.
I'm taking Hughes.
I'm going to take
maybe
6.5 too.
Well, but
I don't know.
Maybe.
I think this is going to be the best game of the day. Just the way it shows up. Because I think that Houston's going to play better than we expect. I think everyone thinks that it's going to be kind of like the San Diego State game where Syracuse is just going to run away at one point. They're going to go on a run when they can figure out the zone. But I think this is actually going to be a huge back and forth game. I'm happy it's the nightcap.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already having a couple drinks now. We're probably going to be a little.
Oh, yeah.
We'll probably be a little in the bag, and we'll probably appreciate.
If you want to sponsor, our line is open. Otherwise, we're going to have to shop around a little bit, see some of that. But anyway, but yeah, so that should be, I think this is going to be a great game. But I don't know. I think Houston is going to get through.
Syracuse?
Hughes is going to get through.
Oh, I thought you said Houston's going to get through.
Hughes, sorry. Hughes
the hand block.
Yeah. But anyway, I have to give props to my guy Calvin, Syracuse alum.
Yeah.
He picks him every year, and I always make fun of him, but it works. He picks him going forward, and he's right. He's been right. So then the other 2 games today, so we go up to the South region. We have Villanova and Baylor. This is one that, again, we mentioned it kind of last time. This is, I think, as far as our picks go, we both like Baylor in this one and to cover as well. I think you said, what are they at?
7 and a half.
So it just seems like, again, Villanova did what they had to do with this tournament. They did what they were supposed to do. I think even if they lost to a Purdue team last round, that would have been fine. But since they got North Texas, you had to win that game. I think we mentioned it before. It's like if they win, they exceed expectations. If they lose, they're where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, even though I do have the 7.5, I'm a little bit nervous that
Nova. I am too. Yeah.
Like Nova's, they're Fortune 500 company, and they do have some really good players. And
the latest Arcidiakono.
Yeah, Arcidiakono comes out of nowhere. Like he's only averaging he had 6 points in the last game. Still, it's having an impact out there. So I do think it's going to be kind of a close game, but I do think around the last 10 minutes of the game, Baylor's really going to put it out of reach.
Yeah,
because I think they definitely have the most talent on the floor with Gillespie out.
Yeah,
and between Mitchell,
Butler.
I always get Butler and Suggs, their last names, because it's Jared Butler, Jalen Suggs.
Yeah.
I always at the
mullet off the bench.
Matthew Mayer, and Maceo Teague. So I think just the talent's going to come over that game. Baylor's kind of really hitting their stride after their kind of hiccup after COVID, and then running into Kate Cunningham in the Big 12 tournament. So I think it's going to be a close game to start, and then they're really going to run away. So I liked it at 6.5 and went up to 7.5. I'm
let's get it now.
I'm I might stall out. So I was thinking of switching sides, and I'm what's 1 point really going to do? I mean, Nova's going to lose by 7 now.
Yeah. And we actually, I've been kind of around the world today. So Michael, she called me on the phone. I forgot who they, you just said Baylor and I ran with it. I forgot. I'm oh, wait, they're playing Villanova.
Yeah.
Do I already regret this pick?
4 of 23 shooting from the field from the Ramblers.
Which is insane because Oregon State is 8 of 24, which isn't exactly lighting it up, but for Kobe, 8 of 24.
Yeah. That's 24 points.
Yeah. All right, they're gonna win the game. They're gonna win the whole thing then. But anyway, then the final game that we're gonna recap, the third game of the night. Okay, these weird.
I don't get these
sidebar. these weird cartoon things with the team that CBS is going on. That video I sent you last week with the Zerbiak and Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis all dancing with them. That was. I felt like I was on drugs. Even though
Titus and Tate talking about that too. It's what are we doing?
Yeah, I had no idea what was happening. I'm I know I've been up for a while, but am I starting to hallucinate? But I recorded it. That was real. But yes, the final game we'll recap third game of the night. Oral Roberts, the Cinderella.
Also, Tom, I kind of love how that game's at Butler State. So get Nova's head.
What's that?
This game's at the Hinkle Fieldhouse where Butler plays. So
okay.
Hopefully that'll be a nice mental advantage for Baylor because Nova usually has to go to Butler Like that's an
okay.
That's
Yeah,
a Big East
conference. Yeah.
So.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, so Oral Roberts, the Cinderella of this tournament so far, upsetting Ohio State and Florida. Now they have to take on the Must Bus. I think the bus is going to run them over a little bit here.
I hate that we're on the same side for everything.
I know it does not bode well for us. Yeah, typically when we ride the same way, it does not go well.
Yeah, it's usually like we like have a couple in between, so it's like I feel like we differentiate on a couple games. We win the ones we like together, and then like we'll go even.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm also scared because
I also think I'm betting on the favorites tonight, which I'm not.
Yeah, last week it was like I thought it was seeing it perfectly. Like I knew like the big favorites are going to cover. Like,
yeah,
I was loving what I was seeing that entire last weekend, and then looking at it today, I'm like, oof.
Yeah, I'm not confident in any of them, but
okay, what else are we gonna
do? I know. And then it's like at the end of the day, it's like once you're gonna like lose at a certain point, you're like, well, I might as well root for the underdog. But anyway, because I don't know what the line is. I'm assuming it's like pretty high. Is it?
It's 11.
It's 11. I was just about to say 11. All right, I'll think about that.
Yeah.
No official picks gonna be made on the podcast. I reserve my right. I'll see how these first two games go.
I'm going to stick with Arkansas.
I'll probably go
Arkansas no matter what, because I really do think you see some of these lower seed teams, they get to the second weekend. Like when you're like, I was saying this last time, I think 12 sometimes like you get a favorable matchup like you are now, but like I think sometimes these like very, very high ranked seeds, once they get to the second weekend, like they're outrunning the momentum of like 2 games in 3 days of just running on fire.
You've taken a seat back.
You think about it and you're like there for a while and like, holy crap, like are we really the 16 best team in the country? And I think that, it might start off kind of hot like the Arkansas Colgate game, but I think at some point A. Smith or Banner, one of them is going to have a bad shooting night.
Or they're just going to like the defense is going to be too, like they're going to make someone else beat them. And I don't think anyone can because they're a 2-man team.
So I just think at a certain point, because even if it'll be a back and forth to begin with, like the Arkansas Colgate game, Colgate was up a lot, and then Arkansas put by like 13 points.
Right, that's true.
So I think
I can see it going that way as well.
I can definitely see like it being like a lot, like a 5 to 8 point Arkansas a majority of the game, and then like I said, the last 10 minutes just kind of just Arkansas's talent taking over, and the must churn along to the Elite Eight.
Yeah. So again, now we're on the right side of the bracket. I guess we should. Yeah, we kind of made our Elite Eight picks because whether split or not, I think we're pretty much in agreement that it's going to set up a Baylor, Arkansas, and I think we think a Syracuse, and we thought Loyola. We'll see what happens here. But Final Four, who do you have coming out?
So Baylor over Arkansas, and no matter how bad this game looks, my pick before was I got to stick to my pregame picks. I can't be dilly-dallying at halftime. I did have Loyola coming out of this region.
Okay. So I originally did, but I did make the change. I have Syracuse coming out. I have Syracuse over Loyola.
You did say before the recording.
So we actually have completely different, because I think the Must Bus is going to power through Baylor. So I did a second chance bracket on ESPN. Doesn't mean anything. There's nothing. It's like we were saying before, we kind of just did what we wanted. So I have the Must Bus coming out of the South region, and I have Syracuse coming out of the Midwest. So setting that up for them, and then I did have Arkansas actually beating Syracuse. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it to get to the championship game. But now going back to the left side bracket for the games tomorrow, I think the best game of the slate is on there, but we'll get to that a little bit. Gonzaga Creighton, I don't know where this line is at. I think we're both definitely in agreement that Gonzaga is going to win the game. Yes. As far as the line goes, I probably still think Gonzaga is going to cover that because I think
it was 13.
They were, again, 16 versus Oklahoma, and I barely pushed, and that was with Oklahoma playing fantastic basketball.
Also, update, it's 10.5 Oral Roberts and 6 even for Syracuse.
Okay. So
13.5
for Gonzaga. I think I still like Gonzaga.
They're just so good.
They're so good. I had to sweat out that Oklahoma game. They seem like they're firing on all cylinders. I think it's going to take a really good team to even slow it down. I think Creighton had a favorable field to get to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I was fading the Big East in their first rounds, and they both had played 12-13.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, because
you play. But
yeah, they were.
And
they're a missed shot away from losing the first round.
Yeah,
and then you faced
Ohio.
Yeah.
All I gotta say, this is no disrespect to Zagorowski because he's had a very fantastic tournament. He's been their best player. He's going to carry them all year. Only a junior, so he'll be coming back. He should be coming back. I believe.
I mean, I haven't seen his draft stock, but yeah.
I just do think Gonzaga is going to roll. Like I'm not going to get too scared of this line. I really just think Gonzaga is going to roll in this game because Creighton lost by 30 points to Georgetown. Because I think literally
they're another team. It's
down to Zagorowski. Like I don't really know who else they go to after that.
It is almost like Like I was saying with Villanova, Prentice Creighton, Sweet 16. That's you're where
Yeah,
you should be.
McDermott's first Sweet 16 ever.
That was just insane that he didn't do with Dougie.
Yeah,
I would have thought I thought that's where they went was I guess they only won one game. But anyway, yeah. So I think Gonzaga to win and cover there. USC Oregon. I don't know where this line's at, Mike, but
it's 2 for USC. Yes, 2.
Oh, okay. I like the Ducks in this one.
I like the Ducks.
Man, I didn't know because you picked USC against Kansas the other day, and
I was just down on Kansas.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think Oregon's going to win this game outright. 2.5. I'd definitely go money line on that one.
Yeah,
but
I think it's plus 115.
They just looked so dynamic against Iowa. Again, Iowa played a good game of offense, and they still lost by 15.
Yeah, it was all 5 starters looked fantastic. And some good guards.
Duarte,
that was the
Duarte's. He looked great.
And the one time they did play this year, USC did destroy them.
Yeah,
but I think it was just kind of like a fluky.
But they've had injuries. They've had COVID.
I think it was like a fluky first 10 minutes of the game where USC didn't miss, and all Oregon did was miss. I think it was 20-2 to start, and then it was kind of an even basketball game after that. But
absolutely.
So I just really like the Ducks have looked only to play one game. So
all right, I think we might differ here now that I'm getting to the East region. So Gonzaga Creighton is going to be game 1 tomorrow. USC Oregon going to be the nightcap. Now we have the 2 middle games for the East region. Michigan FSU. We have Juwan Howard of the Michigan squad coming off of a close but pretty convincing win as well against LSU. And then Leonard Hamilton and Florida State who handled Colorado pretty easily after their first round win as well. Again, Mike, I don't know if you can give me a line check here as far as what the betting situation is here, but I'm taking Michigan to win the game 2, and then I'll take them to cover as well. Are you gonna? You like Michigan?
I like Michigan.
Okay, I don't know. You bet LSU the other day. I think you've been
that was more
Florida, and you bet Florida State. That's the reason why I thought you might.
It was I just the score didn't come down, but I knew that between Smart and Thomas, they were going to put up enough points. I thought it was going to be a 1 possession game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that Michigan was.
Oh, that's true. I guess because they were.
It was a 5-point spread.
Okay, fair.
So I thought it was gonna be a very close one.
Okay.
And
so,
have some LSU
well,
friends.
we're gonna stay boring here. I mean, at least it seems like when we're going on the next frontier, the Elite Eight, if picks go the way we think they will, we differ there. But anyway, then the final game we're going to talk about, game 3 of the day. Actually, quickly going back to Michigan again, I think they've been on a pretty good run here without Livers as well.
I gotta say,
a lot of people have doubted them.
I did too. I jumped off there. I had them in the Elite Eight, but
yeah,
I just saw the impact. I thought over the course of his career, 40-4 in liver plays and not so good when he doesn't. And I did like this guy. I did shut him out during the first Ohio State game. Shawnee Brown. He stepped up and he's playing on the wing. He had 21 points and an LSU victory. I think he had scoreless in the first game. I think that was kind of just due to they didn't need him. So I really like Shawnee Brown, and I think he was coming off the bench. I think
Brooks also had a great game.
Yeah, so I think the rest of the team has really stepped up, and I think they're poised to.
Yeah, I mean the only thing I did. I filled out a bracket. I actually had Michigan in the championship game losing to Illinois, and then the only thing I was like the Livers thing only made me bump them back. I had them with the Gonzaga, so I gotta at least ride that. I have 2 Final Four teams left, so then the final game of the day is UCLA and Alabama. So probably the most storied basketball program, and then the most storied football program. If you think about it, UCLA and Alabama going at it in the 3rd game of the night. Michael, need another line check here.
6.5.
6.5 for Alabama. I think Alabama's going to win, and you're going to say the exact same thing as me, like UCLA to cover.
This is me betting with my heart because this UCLA team I have fallen for.
Yeah.
Between Johnny Juzang, the guy that Kentucky didn't want, so I think they kind of chose wrong there. Jules Bernard,
how this shit went.
Great guy. Yeah. And then my boy Jaime Jaquez.
Yeah.
So I think this team can put up enough points to keep up with Alabama, and I really don't expect them to shoot the lights out as well as they did against Maryland. There for a stretch of that game, they just didn't miss from 3.
Yeah, I
mean they do a lot of scores, and they have 4 guys that can put the ball in the basket pretty well.
Yeah,
between Petty, I'm blanking on a lot of their names. I know the SEC Player of the Year. I'm just completely blanking on right now. So
for Bama,
yeah,
I get them and Arkansas confused.
Yeah, I almost like Moody.
Me too. Yeah. Damn. But anyway, but do you like Alabama in the game, but UCLA to cover? Or do you like UCLA to win the game?
I'm going to be rooting for UCLA to win the game, but screw it. UCLA win.
All right.
I really think Alabama's the better team, and I know like if they played,
I think they definitely can win the game.
I think it's if they played 9 times out of 10, Alabama.
Nine.
If they played 10 games, Alabama wins 9 times out of 10.
9, okay.
But I don't know. I'm lucky McCronen's boys.
Okay. So that would obviously set up again if picks go our way, Gonzaga, Oregon, and then a Michigan, and you say UCLA, I say Bama. I think either way, Michigan's going to come out of that region. That's just how I feel.
Herb Jones, that's what that guy was.
Okay. So yeah, I have
Shackelford is the guy, and then Quinterly off the bench.
Okay,
Shackelford.
That's what
those are the 4 guys.
Yeah. But Gonzaga. So I think we both agree they're coming out of that region.
Yeah. Okay. And then Michigan.
And then you Michigan as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So we're in agreement on that front. So one thing I will say, kind of just recapping everything, is that it seems like Gonzaga is probably the only team that's going to come out of that region. I think Oregon could make a.
I think that game is going to be. I hope that game happens and that spread's big enough like that, because this is when I would like Oregon to cover that spread. All right. I think that matchup will give them trouble.
Well, okay, fine. Even if you open up to Oregon, there's maybe 2 teams that can win that region. You have to think it's probably Baylor or Arkansas that win that region. But the other 2, I could see any 4 of the teams coming out of that region. Because if FSU is able to beat Michigan, I think that's, again, a tough one.
I don't, as much as I like UCLA, I don't think I can beat both Bama or either.
I'm just saying I wouldn't be shocked if any 4 of those teams came out.
Yeah.
And then, then the other one's wide open.
That's a crapshoot.
Yeah, which, again, choose surprise the inside track there was this team. But
they're shooting like crap in this game.
I missed that.
I said that that region's crapshoot.
Crapshoot. Okay. All right. I just didn't hear it. It wasn't not funny, but
it was not funny at all. But
well, yeah, no. So we have, again, 4 games today, 4 tomorrow, and then we'll have all the winners going at it on Monday and Tuesday. Again, we talked about it. Again, different. We're usually in the Thursday to Sunday format. I like having 4 games on Saturday. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm liking, like, in general, not the biggest fan, but the Saturdays themselves have been freaking fantastic.
Right. So I think at the very least a Friday to Monday. I don't know. It was nice. It made the week seem shorter. I have to say.
Yeah.
The week flew by. It seemed like Monday was like a
because it was like we did the recording on Tuesday. It was like right after the games. Next thing it was Wednesday afternoon. Yeah. Like I think it was hump day lunch before, like the hump day lunch, like your Wednesday lunch where you're like, I'm exactly halfway through the week. I feel like it was there before you knew it. So.
I know. So
and there's gonna be less of a layoff between games, because usually like you're used to like Thursday to Sunday. Then you're like, Saturday.
Yeah. So
but the one thing is though, I didn't think I was gonna be missing games on Thursday this week. I was.
I don't know. Again, Thursday I don't know if it's because I had a lot going on. Like, again, I'm kind of doing a lot of open houses, looking around. So we had that. Then, like, I don't know, before we knew it was like 8:00 on Thursday. And then we just watched a movie, and then we were able to do stuff last night. So I wasn't craving it as much.
I was craving on Thursday, but because we didn't get it on Thursday, I was waiting for it last night, even though it was Friday last week.
But, so yeah, obviously in a lot of similar territory, we'll have to, again, the preview's a little different because there's not much to diagnose. It's more just like what we think. So, but yeah, that's what we have there. Again, we're going to be watching the rest of the games today together, and then we'll obviously have a slate tomorrow to watch as well. Then the games Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll do a recap show on Wednesday, and we'll get into a little bit of a baseball preview, whatever happens in the other leagues.
Hopefully nothing big happens then, so we can keep the podcast at an appropriate length, because we'll probably do a decent preview. It might be a lot of rapid fire, like teams over under wins, and then maybe like MVP and Cy Young selections, and got to pick a World Series prediction.
That's true. You got to pick the divisions, all that. I think we'll have a lot to go over. But again, we're not going to dive into as many games as we did last weekend. We're going to have 12 games to diagnose, really. So luckily we can keep that a little bit shorter. And then before we go, Mike, I did want to. It sucks to keep ending these shows on such sad notes, but this is probably the most tragic one we've had, because at least. Again, every day it's always sad, but I mean, just someone cut way too short is Oscar Fryer from Grand Canyon University. So they made the tournament this year in a car accident, unfortunately dying at the age of 23. It just absolutely just heartbreaking to hear, and really just, thoughts go out to his friends and family.
Yeah,
and the other victims as well.
It makes it so real, because like as much as these like living legends, like we talked about Ellen and Baylor in the last podcast, as much as it sucks, like.
It's always sad.
It's like, I can't say the last time I've even seen Elgin Baylor on my TV. Whereas we watched this guy play basketball at this time
a week ago. Yeah.
Like it was nothing. It was like, hopefully Iowa covers their spread. Like,
right.
That's all I was looking for in that game. And a human being is no longer there. That was just on my TV.
It's insane.
So
yeah, so
thoughts and prayers go with everyone involved.
The university, the friends and family. Again, I think there were 2 other victims as well, and I apologize if I have that number wrong, but yeah, just real terrible situation there, and just yeah, you can't really say anything else. But I knew we had to give him a moment here just to kind of to discuss him, and again, just I can say it's thoughts to everyone involved, but yeah, so again, that'll do it for today. Again, we're about to get into the second half here of Oregon State Loyola, and we'll have a recap for you guys midweek next week.
All right, it was a pleasure for the
we'll have to do this again. Maybe we'll watch games next weekend. We'll have to see how our schedules work out, but we get Final Four next weekend. We'll see. We'll hopefully have a few more of these down the line, especially once everyone gets vaccinated. We're able to do more things in person, but so it was a lot of fun, and hopefully we have more on the horizon. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.
So long, everyone.